I wanted to do a video on my life. If you know my life story, it's pretty straightforward. You grew up in a classic 1990s house, and it was all sleepovers, fun and games. We had the friend with the tree house from Cuba. Um, had a very diverse group of friends, from Alan to Lucas to this guy named Billy. These kids named Billy, and his brother Noah or something like that lived across the street. It was just, dude, it was like a 1950s neighborhood, but it was also a nightmare because my father was just so self-centered. He just ruined everything, and he couldn't help himself. And my mother was equally emotionally stunted and self-centered, and she just ruined everything because they couldn't help themselves. Always thinking they knew better, always thinking they were smarter when they were dumber. Their narcissism. There's an entire thing about kids raised in like the 60s or whatever, because in the 40s, the greatest generation didn't know how to raise kids. And the book that came out was Child Worship, which is why almost every boomer is emotionally stunted or narcissistic, because they're told from childhood they're smarter and superior, and they end up just being dumbasses their entire life. So don't ever do that with your kids. They just end up moderately fucking retarded and complete pieces of shit. And when things go bad, instead of solving problems, they fuck up everything. They just fuck everything up. Now, as I was saying, my life is fairly impressive. I almost cartoonishly have lived longer than most people, just through the ridiculous shit I've lived through. From being abused, assaulted, this army of retards at this church that to this day are still actively trying to ruin my life, and they will succeed. They will eventually kill me. That's just how things go. It is an absurdity to me just how far off the rails things got. And just how far, it's funny because these people say stupid shit like, I can't believe how far removed from God people are. These sons of bitches poison people's food, abduct them from the streets, put them in the human trafficking, and murder them. And then have the balls to say, I can't imagine how far from God, really? Like, but I guess when you believe God's out in the desert plowing babies and raping women, your values are different than other people, and my values have always been my values, regardless of how far these people have forced me to just violate every value I've ever had my entire life. And even the good ones are awful ones. I literally don't believe there is a good person in that church at all. I remember the blue-eyed guy. I don't even remember the conversation. He just kept harassing me after everything was said and done. Under the contract, to give you an idea, I couldn't look up the word perjury without getting a call. Ring, ring, ring. Are you looking up the word perjury? Don't you look that up! You're not allowed to look up anything! Like, you're not allowed to look up lawyers. You're not allowed to look up any way of fixing stuff. Like, yeah, the thought police. Literally, the fucking thought police. Like 1984's thought police. And my computer they would literally turn off my computer if they thought I was looking up too much fucking information on court. And it was kind of funny because I had cadmium brain, I had severe heavy metal brain, and I would just forget. Simply, I would look up information and it would just be gone the next day. I wouldn't fucking remember. I had a list, but Blondie broke into my house and stole it, so that was fucked. And this is the thing. Anytime I did anything, these assholes would plan around my plan. The Helsing stuff. We plan around his plan. Well, we plan around the plan. And they started clowning themselves. One of the times I put my phone in my mother's car and my mom left with it, and they followed her around town. Like, and then they got pissed that they got clowned because they're clowns. Like, this is the problem when you're trying to control things you can't control. They're idiots. And it's not going to stop these people. They're going to keep doing that. Once again, emotionally stunted. They can't fucking learn. It's impossible for them. You cannot teach them. They are inherently stupid. Okay? And they need to be they need to be re-diagnosed as autism and told you're a retard and you can't have nice things because of that. Because you're going to use those nice things to terrorize other people because you're retarded. Okay? Like, And I think about even the people I worked with, and I recognize now a whole bunch of them were actually fucking church members, and they were all just dedicated to ruining my life. Like, that was the only thing, and I think about those circumstances and how, like, I've always felt like kind of a failure or a loser. And I remember, Stu, you're a loser. If I'm a loser, you dumb assholes wouldn't have to have an army of fuck-ups stopping me. That's just a fact. You people are losers because you have nothing better to do with your lives. You know, Blondie's watching her, and you know, once again, the blue-eyed guy tried to talk to me, and I just started doing. I was making fun of Stu because he was like, "Oh, we're not like that." I was like, and he had this entire dude. I don't know why the fuck he thought I could pull the perjury, the paper I signed. I don't know why he thought I could do anything. Because he helped Stu, literally under the contract I'm under, Stu used the fucking surveillance van. He used all that information to steal my presidential pardon, which ain't that some shit. Okay? If I tried to report these people to police, they deactivated my phone. Yeah. Ain't that some shit. Okay. But the blue-eyed guy comes to me, and I don't know where his values are. It's okay as long as it's white. That's the only thing I can imagine. Because if your church doesn't align with your values, fuck your church. Okay? Fuck your church. I remember the blue-eyed guy trying to explain to me, because I was making fun of Stu, and he was going on, and I was like, you know, he was like, you go to jail, and we'll use your presidential pardon, and everything's gonna be okay, and blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, let me just, and I looked at him, and I was just giggling, and I was like, I'm Stu, and he was like, what? No, don't do that. I'm Stu, yeah, he's a good guy, and he's gonna do the right thing, and he's gonna go to jail for 400 years, and then we'll use his presidential pardon, and I'll get back to abducting women and killing them. And blue-eyed guy, you'll sell me covered up, right? And I remember him like, we are not that! We are not that! Stop it! Just literally screaming and throwing a tantrum like a child in the back of Papa John's, telling me to stop doing that. That's not how they work. That's not how they think. And then he came back the next day and he said, to you, it seems like that. It literally seems like we just jack off to human suffering. And we don't. We're more complicated. I was like, I don't know why you don't put cigarettes out in your own kid's eyes. And he just, what? I don't know why you guys don't pick up babies and just smash them to dude, I don't know. What about me you guys think is fucking horrible? I really don't. And you don't understand. What don't I understand? What don't I understand? As you had that faggot at McDonald's poisoning me and jacking off to it. I was like, you literally jack off to human suffering. I was like, that's not a joke. The normal human beings don't do that. Only devils and demons do that. So what are you worshiping? What is in your church? What is in your house? What are you? We're not that. We're not. What are you, blue-eyed guy? He was, forget it. I don't want to talk. I don't want to say anything. I was, why? I don't want to talk about it. And you remember him leaving and then coming back, telling me this was all my fault after they put me through fucking hell. And then had the balls to say it was my fault. Oh, it's your fault. We destroyed your brain. It's your fault. Everything's your fault. You fucking sack of shit. And then I remember him trying to explain to me that they're trained at the church. Accountability means blaming somebody else. To them. Yeah, these are their values. Somebody else done it. Because I'm a superior being and I can't be held to account. Yeah. It's a funny thing to think about how how entitlement's a part of their religion and how entitlement just leads you down a destructive path of always being the victim. It's a thing when people are entitled, they're the victim and everything. Because it should have been mine to begin with. I shouldn't have had to do anything to get it. It's just bitching and whining. And then these dumb assholes want to tell you they're somehow men. And they need to be respected when they think like fucking 2-year-olds. Like, I don't know. Yeah. I think we all like to dream of a better world, and the only closest thing to good news I've ever gotten is Zoomers and Millennials agree on accountability. They believe accountability is important. They think that people who are destroying the earth need to be held to account. And these people don't like that. These church assholes don't believe in accountability. Oh, I'm accountable to God, and he's out in the desert plowing babies and raping women, so he's kind of busy and he can't deal with my bullshit. Okay. Like, I know this is the problem, and I dream of the day that we just move away from religion. And religion itself, I would, dude, in a glorious revolution, religious people would just be referred to as retards. He's a retard. He can't deal with reality, so he makes up false gods and magical nonsense to deal with it. He's retarded. Like, they're retarded. They have false gods and made up nonsense. They think doing drugs and dropping acid is somehow spirituality. They think drinking lead makes them magical, like all that shit, and just drive home they're fucking crazy. And yeah, these people would get mad. They would scream and throw tantrums because they're not accepted and everybody thinks they're retarded. They're retarded. And I think that would be the only way to even remotely begin to fix this kind of stuff, like straight up, is drive home that these people are fucking stupid. I don't really think there is a form of winning, but I also don't feel defeated, and I don't really feel like a real loser because, like, my cuddle buddy actually revealed to me later that she was there to sabotage my dating life. She was only hanging out with me because she was trying to ruin my life. Yeah. Yeah. And there were apparently other dumb bitches, probably. Dude, there were a bunch of dumb bitches I ran into that. I'm starting to wonder they were actually dumb bitches or they were just sent by the church. Like, every one of them was just the worst type of woman. Like, the worst type of person you could meet. Stupid, idiotic, control issues, and every other one. I was raped by my dad or I had sexual. What is with you people? Why do you think that's normal? That's not fucking normal. Normal people don't do that. You're weird. Okay. Like, whatever. Yeah, and and I realize even the other guys I called friends weren't really friends. They were just there trying to derail my life. And anytime I realize now my biggest mistake in life was talking about my plans because I realized these dickheads were just trying to take a hammer to my life, and that was the only thing they could jack off to. I assume, like, oh, I'm not allowed to jack off to anything else other than human suffering. We're God-fearing people, but we love human suffering. Like, okay, great. You're somehow getting into heaven with that psychology. Yeah, here's a fun fact. In the Bible, it's the devil that hates humans and loves human suffering, and you have more in common with the devil than you do Jesus, and you need to ask yourself about that. Yeah. Like, it is kind of stupid. I am backed into a corner where I won't win no matter what I do. And these people are not gonna fuck off because emotionally stunted people don't know when to stop. They're retards. Like, I don't... the superior psychology can't process its own emotions, doesn't have ability to take your perspective, doesn't understand anything, and actually can't learn. Somehow it's superior. It makes sense. I remember one of the stakes from being president. I talked to a guy and he was explaining to me that the entitlement is the fail-safe for everything. Because they know their psychology does not create new ideas. It does not come up with or create. It is not a psychology of creation, but rather one of repetition and spite. The need to stick it to people and the need to maintain the status quo and stop change and don't think whatever you do, don't think. It is a psychology of control. As a result of this gray world these people want to live in, new ideas are destructive and need to be stolen by entitled white people so they can take credit for it, even though they're not that smart. Okay? Even though it's not their ideas, but they steal it from other people because they're entitled to it. It exists in this world, it belongs to me! Like, it's mine. I'm not smart enough to come up with anything because my religion makes me stupid. And I don't, it's a superior psychology. I'll kill you. Bang, bang. You feel bad for me. You're a victim. And you're just you sniveling little shit. You stupid fuck. Like, and you know, the whole control issues come from being raped, and these people rape everybody because that's just what they do. Hallelujah for the holy anal rape. How the fuck these people are allowed in anybody's backyards is beyond me, but whatever, dude. Yeah. I don't know how you can be proud of yourself when all you do is take a big fat shit on people and steal stuff and murder and then scream that you're the victim. And you gotta, dude, it's the LSD. Their happiness is LSD. You turn the page, LSD. Like, I pop LSD, therefore I have mastered my emotions. The same way my cat has mastered the English language by mowing nonstop until I figure out what it wants. Like, dude, even the people at Papa John's, like the double agents, the ones that were there for the church but were secretly slipping me information, shit like Gannon was doing weird rituals to keep me up at night, like the kid that told me that shit, like fucking the other guys that were explaining to me Stu was up to no good, or they would tell me don't go there, Stu's waiting for you, or whatever. Like, these people who kind of cared about me but not really. They weren't helping me, but they weren't working against me. They would just drop subtle hints or say something or interfere in some bizarre stupid way. Like, I don't know. It's whatever, man. I don't know how you can be that far removed from God. The blue-eyed guy that kills me because anything to defend Stu, even though Stu is just garbage. Like, I don't get, like, whatever, dude. Even I turned myself in, go to jail for 400 years. These clowns are like, I can make it in the real world without the support of the church. And then they all just go to jail one after the other, just nonstop. Like, just, oh no, how did this happen? Because you're an idiot, dude. Like, and when I say these people would be happier dead, that's not a joke, because humanity and living is horrible for them, okay? The real world is horrible for them. This world out here is terrifying, and they hate it. They hate America. That's not a joke. They pretend to love America. They hate America. They want to live in a gray, totalitarian, boring-ass, theocratic nonsense where you go to work, come home, and pop LSD, and then just sit in your corner, high out of your mind. And that's their world. That's their peace. Because everything they do is just miserable. Like, it is literally a misery machine. So, whatever. And because they're miserable, they make me miserable. Because they're like, we're so fucking miserable. We gotta make other people miserable. Oh, I signed up for this. This is my fault. I did this to myself. I don't have accountability, so I gotta do horrible shit to other people instead of just bang. You'd solve the problem really quick. These are your decisions. Okay. And you're gonna be miserable eternally when you're supposed to be living a good life. And you stopped me from living a good life, so thank you for that. And I know you're proud of yourselves, but here's the other side of that. You can shoot yourself in the head. You don't have to be miserable anymore. And it would send the church a message. Hey, our guys have started killing themselves instead of listening to what we're telling them. Maybe we need to unfuck ourselves. Just a thought.